Hello guys and welcome back for another New World Aeternum video. Today we will take a quick look on all the upcoming artifacts with the expected patch on October 15th with the Aeternum's release. Most, if not all of them, are probably known to you already, but I wanted to make a quick recap and theorycraft a bit so we can see the potential builds those artifacts can be used with. Without further ado, let's see if those new items will be better than the ones we already have and which builds will get affected the most. The first item that we will take a look at is the new heavy chest piece artifact called Survival's Coat. This one comes with Enchanted Ward and Refreshing as two fixed perks. As always, you can choose the third one, and the unique passive is providing you 50 stamina, cleanse of all debuffs and a potion search when you drop under 50% HP, and this passive has a cooldown of 120 seconds. Looking at this long cooldown of 120 seconds and gaining only the cleanse plus the extra potion, I don't think that this item would be significant difference to what we already have, and therefore I don't believe that this item will be a meta in the war scenario. However, since we don't have cleansing potions in OPRs and arenas, I believe that this item might suit the best the heavy paladins who are playing mostly those game modes. Moving on to the next artifact, we have the medium gloves Ghostly Touch. With again Enchanted Ward and Refreshing as fixed perks, we have also the passive which will provide us with 10% in power for the next 10 seconds, and we will also strip down 2 of the enemies' empowers. I believe that this artifact may be the best suit for range DPS, and especially looking down to my Firestaff builds, I will definitely use this artifact. Our number 3 artifact for today will be the Azoth Conductors. Again, an artifact in medium wear, which is this time pants. This item will provide you a health and refreshing perks as a base, and this time the passive will provide 15% of elemental damage as long as you maintain medium equip load. Again, same like the Ghostly Touch gloves, I believe that this artifact might suit the best the ranged users who are using mostly elemental types of damages. Those can be the fire staffs, the muskets, even the bows, and why not the people who are using the Void Great Axe. The only downside probably would be that you need to be in medium equip load, but taking in consideration the heavy melee meta, I think that medium would provide you with even more survivability, so at the end of it, it might be a good trade. The next artifact on the line is the only light piece, and this is Cowl of Power, which is a light headpiece, and it will provide you Enchanted Ward and health as fixed perks. Again, you can choose your third one, and then you have a Desperate Energy as a passive. Desperate Energy will give you a 25% increased damage for the next 4 seconds as long as you hit an enemy while your mana is below 50%. Now, there is 2 questions that are coming straight up into place, and the first one is, will those 25% damage increase will be considered as in power? If that is the case, probably this artifact would not be that great, but if those 25% are not considered as in power, it might have a decent usage. The next question comes, will that be possibly useful for fire staffs, because it's really risky and hard to keep under 50% mana, and maybe if that's the case, the only suitable build for this would be the Void Great Axe, as there you already aim to be at low mana percentages. And now, since we covered all the new armor artifacts, we need to take a look at the new weapons which will come into the game. The first one that we will discover is the new Warhammer, which is called Trsna, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Looking at the perks, it feels like it was just a random generated item from a normal Genesis run, as we have Life Stealing, Transient Recovery, a third slot for a perk, and then we have a passive which is called Consume. It will give 25% lifesteal against knockdown foes. As we know, there is not that many times where you have the chance to hit knockdown foes, but if you have really dedicated playstyle in which you are aiming only at knockdown foes and you want to recover all your HP in that short time frame, I guess that would be the artifact for you. Jokes aside guys, I think this is the most useless artifact I've seen out there, so please tell me if I am sharing the same feeling with you or I'm just not looking the bigger picture. Looking at the next weapon artifact, we have Grace, which is the new Greatsword artifact. I have to admit, the skin of this item looks amazing and most likely I will use it as a transmog to roleplay with it. However, looking at the perks, having Vicious and Keen Speed as two fixed perks on a Greatsword most likely is not the best case. You also have a unique passive which will provide you with 20% movement speed for 6 seconds after you enter an offensive stance. As we already know, Greatsword has enough chase potential with the good tracking and of course with the extra speed, and if you want to even further extend that speed, I would suggest you to use Tempest Fury, which is probably the best artifact to zoom around with speed. The last weapon artifact on the list is the new flail, which is called Power Stone. This one comes with Refreshing Move, Enchanted and open slot for a third perk, and the unique passive called Heavy Burden will apply a 20% weaken for the next 5 seconds to all the targets you hit if your health is above 90% HP. As we can imagine, 90% plus HP in PvP is really hard to maintain, so therefore this artifact will have a perfect use in all PvE content. Looking at the tanks, they will be able to apply those 20% extra weaken, and I believe that this would be new meta for all the tanking dudes out there. The last artifact that we will have to take a look at is the Elemental Band, which is a ring artifact. Before going into the details for this artifact, I want to share with you guys that I was extremely excited by the name of it, and I thought that finally I would have a ring to rule them all. However, looking into the further details of it, I don't really see the potential and I really don't think that this would be a meta ring. However, let's take a quick look and see what exactly does it give. The two fixed perks of the ring are Keen Awareness and Hearty. Those two perks are extremely good and we have a potential slot for a third perk. The unique passive called Elemental Affinity will provide you 4% in power for the next 6 seconds if you damage an enemy with any type of elemental damage. How does this work, however, is a bit complicated. You have a 10 seconds cooldown for all of the different types of elements and you can gain only 1 stack of Empower for each element. This also doesn't trigger by the different dots or attunements, but it's not mentioned if it triggers by Shirking element or Chain element. The way to do that and to maximize the potential of it would be if you use 4 different elements, which will mean that you have to split both your weapons into different element types. However, as you can imagine, if this is the case, you will lose a lot of potential bonuses, and therefore I think that this ring is not that suitable. Another thing that we have to really consider is the Empower, because even if we approach and get this ring, we cannot surpass the 50% Empower, so therefore it might not be that useful. I personally don't think that this ring would be the best to use for any mages out there, but if you think that you can surpass and apply a lot of different element types of damages, probably you can find a good use for yourself. That was it from me, guys. This was my short recap for all the new artifacts and their potential for the upcoming New World Aeternum release. Do you also share the same vision for the mentioned items, or there is something that I'm completely missing out? Please let me know in the comments below or in my Discord community server. There we can also extend the discussion and theory craft different builds for both PvE and PvP. Link for the Discord and for all the platforms I stream on can be found in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.